right hand.
You want people to be honest. I don't know if I've ever heard a fighter talk about it. Heading into a championship fight. And number 4, Russell with the left through the guard of Magsayo. Trying to control the pace now again. Popping with the lead left.
You know, from pure volume standpoint, Russell, like this round, he's only thrown 18 punches. Only 37 for Magsayo, but still, Russell's not doing a lot offensively.
Father Time will catch up with all of us. Not saying that that is the case yet, but perhaps some signs, as we saw against Nyambayar in the second half of their title fight.
Great timing right there from Magsayo. Now, you want to hook because he's got his hands down.
Then Magsayo goes to the body. Russell for a couple of left hooks. One to the body, one upstairs.
That's really what it boils down to now for Russell, right, Edwin?
Exactly, 100%. Now, if Russell's going to try to land that left, you want to time him and hook with him. You want, once he throws that left, you hook with your own left. Left hook if you're Magsayo. Now, it's going to get interesting for Russell because now he's got that left. The only thing that he's got is the left. He's used to setting up his punches with the right. He's not going to be able to do it.
Yeah, the adversity that Gary Russell Jr. has had to endure during his lengthy time off, growing exponentially here now in this championship fight. With that right shoulder causing them some problems. A minute and a half left in the 5th.
Now, Magsayo has on several occasions been close to walking into a left-handed Russell. It can happen. So we have to keep that in mind. And will it hurt Magsayo? We'll see.
Yeah, Russell's still making it difficult for Magsayo to get inside.
Yes. And, of course, Magsayo, if he's smart, will try to fight at distance and say, whether I win.
He has experience necessary, and here he is, prime, 26, 23-0 with 16 KOs. Looking to usurp Gary Russell Jr. Russell coming forward with the left block by Magsayo.
I think one thing that Magsayo is doing wrong is that he's pressuring Russell, and Russell's timing him.
Yeah, yes.
He was being...
That's exactly right. Now, there was good body work by Magsayo, and he has done better body work in his fight.
And depending how serious that right shoulder injury is here in an Atlantic City casino, Gary Russell Jr. may be rendered a one-armed bandit for the rest of this fight as we go to round number 6.
I was wondering where you were headed with that. That was good.
Well, no laughing matter for Gary.
Now, Magsayo not getting all many of those punches in, but here's where he kind of falls on top of
6. Magsayo telling us that against Seha, he learned how to adjust in the middle of a fight. He feels it's going to help him here tonight against Gary Russell Jr. By the way, Magsayo's fought 3 times since Russell's last fight in February 2020, right before the world changed forever.
Now, let's put this in perspective now. We're into round 6. These rounds, we're saying that Magsayo's kind of controlling the real estate, but that doesn't mean Russell isn't winning some of these rounds, and he may be. You know, we're looking at this in one lens by calling the fight and looking at the strategy, etc. But who knows who's winning these rounds? It's possible Russell has banked some.
Let's get a quick update from Jim Gray.
Tomorrow I asked Gary Allen Russell, the brother over there training Gary Russell Jr., about his right shoulder, and the doctor come in the ring. He said there is no problem with it. I said, why did the doctor ask him that? He said the doctor doesn't have any idea what's going on here. I said, are you sure there's not a problem? He said, ask Gary Russell Jr. about it after the fight. That's all they would say. Tomorrow.
There's a left uppercut that lands for Magsayo.
Now, if you're Magsayo, you want to start feinting a little bit more now. Set up traps. You feint. It's the left hand that Russell only has, so you feint. You wait for him to throw it.
You know, we heard from Jim Gray. We passed the midpoint of the 6th, and while they may say there's nothing wrong with Gary Russell Jr., he's only thrown 9 punches in the round.
Yeah, precisely. And he's not been active, so nice counter right in. Again, there's the counter when Russell tries to throw the left hand.
And we're used to seeing Russell throw variety of punches. He's a throwing, a combination, a thrower, but we're not going to see that tonight because he's only got one hand.
And the right hand is his jab hand.
Yes.
That's his bread and butter, but he has thrown only half as many as Magsayo here tonight.
And mind you, we're speculating on this because Russell said he probably had an injury. And it's pretty clear that whatever the reason is, he's not throwing that right hand very much.
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out because a lot of people don't know that. Yeah, you're right. Russell told everyone.
You know, Magsayo is throwing more than Russell, and again, controlling the real estate. The question you have to ask yourself, I guess, is are the few of the punches that Russell is landing effective enough to win him a round? I don't know. Magsayo doing something here that we haven't seen as much of, throwing combinations, a three-punch combination. 2 of the 3 got in. And then later on, he of course, he wants to use the uppercut. Now, this one doesn't quite get there, but it half landed. And that was...
Usually 38 jabs around number 3 among all fighters. Gary Russell Jr. threw 0 in round 6, but hey, nothing's wrong with his right shoulder, Abby.
Now, if you're Magsayo, you want to pick it up a little bit more. I know that Russell is smart. He's really smart. He's making this complicated for Magsayo for only having Russell having one hand. But Magsayo having that advantage.
Boxing is a round-by-round sport. Now, this is show steps. Nice counter left by Gary Russell, and they're going at it now. But there you see Magsayo with a big edge, according to show stats, in terms of what's landed per round. And that's how you score fights. But, of course, that's just show stats telling you what's landed. You can still make a case for some of those rounds going to Gary Russell.
Let's bring in our unofficial scorer, Steve Farhood.
Mo, this is a fascinating fight from a scoring standpoint. Magsayo with the counter punching for the first couple of rounds, and Russell starting to pot shot.
Now it's good.
And some of those straight left hands. And, you know, again, I'll remind you that twice Magsayo's been down from left hands delivered by right-handers. It's a little harder for Russell to get there with his left. He has to reach a little bit with it. And these guys are normally volume punchers. 72 per round for Russell, 65 for Magsayo. Neither is approaching that, though Magsayo has thrown well over 100 more punches than Russell.
Cranky upstairs tenant told him to turn down the volume here tonight because he...
And better to realize his dream to be a titleist.
I've heard fighters say I could fight this guy with one hand tied behind my back, and that is what Russell is doing tonight.
Counter left hand, and to Steve Farhood's point, Russell has been successful pot-shotting with the left.
Yeah, from time to time that left hand gets in.
There it does again.
He's making Magsayo miss a lot and landing that left.
But Magsayo's aggression has gone down.
Both men obviously successful in later rounds in fights, and we'll see how that all plays out.
Lead right by Magsayo, overextended himself. Russell catches him with the counter left.
Yeah, that's we talked them all by nice left by Magsayo, but Russell needs to do that. If he's gonna do now.
We're not doctors, we don't play him on TV, but there's something going on.
Well, he literally hasn't thrown anything the last
couple rounds.
Yeah, so that punch isn't there for him.
But you saw this risk. You know that's the only hand he's got, so you take that risk. You're a power puncher.
Chopping right hand by Magsayo. But you would think that Magsayo, like you mentioned, they're trying to find a way to take advantage of this situation, and Russell doing well enough now with one hand, keeping them at bay for the most part. With the
thrown more than Russell.
Yeah, he's thrown almost twice as many, and yet they've connected on the same amount of punches.
Russell has been accurate with that left hand getting in from time to time. An underused punch, and Abner mentioned is the left hook of Magsayo because it would stop Russell from going to his right. He landed it to the body, branding with Freddie Roach. Magsayo didn't know anything about road work. He never ran, so he's become
A more conditioned fighter with Freddie Roach, and yet again, pace beginning to slow down here for Magsayo. 15 seconds left in the 8th round.
That's just been Russell, man. Russell's doing the work, making Magsayo miss.
Yeah, the problem, though, is, again, Russell's thrown 24 punches in this round. Is that enough? Can you win a round with that? Punch, the most important punch now in the fight for Gary Russell, I think.
I feel that so far Russell has made Magsayo miss a lot. He's landed his effective and clean left hands. And even though Magsayo's throwing a lot more than Russell's making a miss.
Yeah, the question is Russell doing enough offensively to win these rounds? I don't know. And that's the danger for him. And Magsayo's abandoned his jab, too. You know, he was using that a little earlier. I know it's hard against the lefty, but it helped.
Now, if you fight a left-hander, you want to watch to your right.
Yes.
To take away that left. Magsayo has not been doing that.
To your left.
To your left, yeah.
To your left,
He's not been able to
he
do
hasn't.
that.
That's a very good point. He should go to his left.
He's walking straight forward, and that's what he's being hit with those.
And the last time he faced a lefty, we mentioned it against Rigoberto Hermosillo in that fence.
Right. The pace of the fight is to stay in this and have a chance. And you look at the numbers, and while Magsayo is certainly throwing more and landing more according to show stats, which I think is a fair assessment, it's round by round, so we'll see.
Of this 126-pound title tilt, Gary Russell Jr. making the 6th defense of his belt against undefeated mandatory challenger Mark Magsayo.
I think the most important point made tonight was made by Abner, and that is that Magsayo is not going to his left. When you have a fighter that is a right hook artist, can't use the right hook, and the only thing he can get to is the left hand. You cannot veer to the right and walk in and give him a chance to do it. You're not supposed to anyway, but especially in this instant. So strategically, a big mistake by Magsayo.
Trainer Freddie Roach might have something to say about that in between rounds as we come to the conclusion of the 9th round. Magsayo beginning to put the pressure on Russell down the stretch here as we head to round number 10. Let's go to Steve.
Current champion in boxing. 6 years, 10 months. He won his title back in.
Very familiar with this weight class. Talk about things that you would like to see each fighter make the adjustments in order to try to, secure the victory here tonight, because this fight could very well...
From Russell, left.
Al, would you want to see anything more added to what we're witnessing here?
Because if he gets to his left, what he has to do then is double with the left hook to the body and the head, and then it'll open up the right hand for him as well. Now, for Russell, he's kind of there. But he was off to the right. If he stepped to his left, those double left hooks might have gotten there. But Russell is taking what's given to him, and that is trying to pot shot with the left hand. There he throws it again. And Magsayo's kind of putting himself in position for that. It's not to say Russell's landing that many of them. He's not. But, it's at least an opportunity for him.
And Russell's using the ring really well.
Yeah.
And it's incredible. Russell rendered a one-arm fighter. We can address his output, but for Magsayo, his output is gone.
Now, he came back to knock out Julio Ceja late in their fight, so we'll see what he's got in his later rounds.
Well, he was forced to come back there, and again, it's only the unofficial scorecard, but Steve Forrest has him up now by 3 points. Two of those all-important championship rounds, a minute left here in the 10th.
And you got to give it to Russell. This is a guy that hasn't fought in 2 years. He's not fighting only inactivity, ring rust. He's fighting an injury.
Yeah, what we saw earlier. I mean, there has to be a severe uptick in the output of Mark Magsayo, and you wonder why is he not throwing more punches against the guy with a compromised right?
The amount of punches thrown by Russell is still
And now up a beautiful defense by Gary Russell.
Partially blocked by Russell, but he has gone downstairs with some good body punches.
Feds, and we will find out just how much more whose title reign could be in jeopardy. And according to an official official score, Steve Farhood. Gary Russell Jr., the longest title reign in boxing. That reign is in jeopardy.
And you know, in the beginning of this round, Magsayo's come out, and not only is he throwing more punches, he's ripping those hooks. He's starting to get those left hooks in. Now, they're a good defensive job by Russell, but that's what Magsayo hasn't been doing, and he's starting to do it in this round. It's, you know, it's so funny. After our heart rate, it's right there from Magsayo. Take a step to your left and rip hooks. There it is. He just needs to do it. And I don't know if Russell can stop that because he can't do anything with his right hand, right arm. Magsayo's having a very good round here, though, in the 11th.
Got to be more effective, throwing more volume punching, listening to us.
In power punches, he's having, other than the jab, 42% landing from Magsayo. So when he throws those punches, he's been effective, and a number of those are body shots.
And we got to point out, Gary Russell's got only one hand. Imagine he had both hands. This fight would have, I don't know, would have been different. Yeah, it would have, obviously.
Yeah, I guess, but it is what it is.
You know, in the past for Magsayo, conditioning has been a bit of a factor. How he responds to his opponent's power punches, but we see tonight he has a huge advantage against a compromised 126-pound champion, Gary Russell Jr. And with 30 seconds left here in round 11, Mark Magsayo continuing to put on the pressure, but needs to continue to put on those punches.
And he clearly, this round, you know, Magsayo's done almost all the offensive work. There hasn't been much done by Russell. So Russell kind of giving away this 11th round.
All you right here.
Magsayo 3 minutes away from potentially changing his determination of Gary Russell Jr. rendered a one-armed fighter here in his 6th title defense.
And here's where we point out that Russell has landed some good left hands. How have they factored into winning rounds? Clearly, Steve Farhood on his unofficial scorecard doesn't think it's enough. There's been some good offensive power and work with the left hand by Russell. The question you have to ask yourself is it enough?
Yeah, right now in this round, Russell using the aggression from Magsayo to his favor. Waiting for him to come in, and he catches him with the left. Again, Magsayo throwing punches, but he's missing a lot.
2 minutes left in this championship affair. Selling ice cream, trying to make ends meet. Caught the attention of the global icon, Manny Pacquiao, the only fighter to win titles in 8 different divisions, including 126-pound. A man who promotes Mark Magsayo, and Magsayo could be 90 seconds away from becoming the next Filipino champion.
Yep. Moment ago, Russell got a nice left hand in. It wasn't a powerful punch, but it got there. But again, it wasn't anything that could change anything. And Russell now kind of working the things a little bit, putting a spin on it by, you know, putting his arms up. But
yeah, Russell wants to make that stand, wants to make the last stand, wants to protect his title reign. And the crowd chanting, Gary, as Russell hopes to subject Magsayo to Capitol Heights punishment, and you'll need to do so, even with one arm.
I'm going to say winning the fight.
Wow, and Russell, like Willie Beck, showing that defense, avoiding those punches, has the high ring IQ. And he says when it comes to fighting, when it comes to boxing, it's always intellect over athleticism. Is his high ring IQ going to be enough?
Yeah, and he could well be winning this round. I don't want to misstate, you know, because he has landed some of those good left hands. He's made Magsayo miss a lot in this round. And this could be a comeback round for him. The question is, how much does this help him in the final score? And we'll find out. And
has the longest title reign in boxing come to an end.
Russell